My guest on this show is Hank Williams, Jr., and on our last show, Hank related the experience of last summer in Montana when he fell over 500 feet in the high mountains of Montana. Hank, you didn't tell us at that time what happened to you when you fell 500 feet.
Well, after I hit the boulder down there, I'd had just a dull thud on the head, and I finally came to a halt, and I was over between my knees. And of course, shock. You're in shock after something like that. You don't feel any pain. And I looked at my hands first. I've been shot and cut up and hurt before, and I looked at my hands immediately. They were all right. And then the blood was coming out, and I grabbed my face, and there wasn't any face there, hardly. And I knew I had no nose, and I had a great big hole from my nose up to my hairline, is what it amounted to. And I could put my fingers into my forehead. And then I started saying, "Oh no," "Oh my God, oh no." And I started looking at the rest of me then, because I knew I'd just rolled and hit, and everything else was all right. And I was trying to get up and walk and fall down and get up and fall down, and Dick worked his way on down there, and he got my hands back out of the way, and kind of put everything back and wrapped my head up with a shirt. And I knew I had a left cheek, a left eye, and a left side of the face, and that was about all. No teeth in the front or anything. My lips are all torn off. And
your lips are torn off?
Yeah, there was just nothing there, Ralph,
I assume now this was all the result of striking a rock.
It was a sharp rock right between the eyes and the nose and all the way up through the head, and just a glancing blow. It's a good thing it was glancing while I was falling. And he kind of got everything back, and I knew it was bad then, because I had been trying to walk and falling down, and the blood was just, every heartbeat was really coming out where the nose area, in between the eyes and forehead was, and I was telling him I was going to walk out of there, and he said, "No, you can't."
How far were you from a hospital?
They flew me 120 or 30 something to Missoula, Montana. But we could have just gone over the divide into Salmon, Idaho, which would have been 30 miles, but they didn't have the facilities at all, and we always said it's a good thing we didn't go there, because it couldn't.
Hank, how close did you come to death?
Ralph, I laid there, and I knew how bad it was. I knew the amount of blood that was gone, and Dick had left, and he had a heck of a climb just to get down to the Jeep. The little boy was there, and I could see my right hand. They had me laid down. They built a rock pile around me because it was getting cold at this time, and they had me wrapped up. And
now, is this the story where the little boy stayed with you?
Yeah, he left his 11-year-old boy, and he said, "You keep him talking until I get back."
I'm going to come back to this, because this is an interesting story. Anytime we'll have you sing a little bit. Was this? Now we're going to get back to the story we promised you earlier. We've been relating some of the details of when Hank Williams, Jr. fell down the mountainside and was almost killed in Montana in 1975. And I want you to tell the story that this made all the papers, about the little boy that stayed with you.
Yeah, it's unique that song says, "I'm going to climb a mountain and jump off and nobody going to know." But I didn't jump, that's for sure. We got up to the point a while ago of where Dick had gone to get
now, who is Dick? You keep referring.
He's a rancher there in Montana.
Okay.
He's born and raised there, and he's a regular Montana rancher.
Friend of yours?
Yes.
Okay.
Little 11-year-old boy was there. He said, "You keep him talking." He worked his way.
Who was the little 11-year-old boy?
That's Walt Willie.
All right. He was Dick's son.
That's right. Dick skinned himself up pretty good. He was in such a state of shock, too, trying to get down to the Jeep. And It was a Saturday afternoon. Here we are in a wilderness area, and he ran into a Forest Service man on the logging road with a radio, and that's what got things happening.
I mean, he was able to radio out for help.
Right.
But the little boy was instructed by his dad to stay with you.
That's right. And he never saw me, the condition I was in, because Dick had me wrapped up by the time the little boy worked his way down there. So it wasn't too bad. He knew it was bad because he'd seen me flipping through the air. And he settled the little boy down, and he said, you talk to him. And he started talking about his dogs, and he started talking about basketball, and he started talking about skiing, and he just kept rattling on.
But he told him to keep you awake.
He said, you keep him talking. And
he wanted you to talk to the little boy, too.
Oh, yeah, and I'd say, and
why did he want to keep you talking?
Well, Dick was a professional skier at one time, and this wasn't something new to him, thank goodness. He had had friends go off in crevasses before. And Dick Willie had no thought in the world that I'd be alive when I got back, because he could see into my
You mean when he
forehead.
got back?
Yeah. So anyway, you were talking a while ago. If I
Was he
thought I
afraid
was
that
going to pass.
you would just pass out?
It was just too much blood coming out, Ralph, you know, and brain infection he was worried about. And I could see that hand, and I could hear that little boy talking, and I got real comfortable there at one time. It felt good to just go on and relax. I tried to make my peace with God. I thought of my life, and I said, maybe I've told you I don't want to live and all. I said, but I sure don't want to die up here on this old mountainside. It's just me and you, however you want it to go. And then I kind of got mad at myself. And I said, wait a minute, I'm not going to give up. In my mind, I think it was a 3-minute period between life and death. And there is a twilight feeling. And I kept watching that hand. I started pounding that hand in the ground just as hard as I could hit it every time. They said I made a crater there by the time they got back. I said, as long as I can see this hand and hear this little boy, I'm in this world. And it didn't seem like that long to me, but it was over 3 hours, and I heard that helicopter, and I heard that little boy say, here comes Dad. And his daddy was working his way back up with 2 other men, and he had got a hold of the Smoke Jumper School in Missoula, the rescue outfit, and they're the ones that came to get me.
So the little boy gets credit, a great deal of credit, though, for keeping you alive.
A great deal from me, and we gave him a big award and a plaque and everything.
Did you?
Yeah, we had Hank Williams Jr. Day in Polson, and we pulled a little surprise on him. He's quite the hero around there. He is to me.
What is his name again?
Walter Willie.
Now, if you think about this, if somebody tells you to talk to somebody for 3 hours, you may say to yourself, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, especially when they can't acknowledge, you know.
And to keep a running conversation going,
He just kept rattling on. He was even laughing and giggling at times, and that's what I credit it to, and the work of his father too.
Here's a pretty song out of a Jerry Reed album called Oklahoma Sunshine.